In this video, we're going to look at different ways we can move, copy and paste our data on the sheet, starting with the basics, and then introducing some lesser known methods that will save you time and effort. We're going to cover two ways of moving cells, copying and pasting cells, using paste special to paste only the values or to transpose the data. And finally, we're going to see how we can create sequential numbers quickly, both for numbers, dates, and times. Here I've got some exam results, and I've decided to lay out the page a little differently. There are two ways to do this. First, click on the cell or on the range of cells, then move the cursor near the top of the highlighted area, and it will change to a little hand. This is the move symbol. Click and drag to the area on the sheet you want, and release the mouse button over the cell you want. The top left of your selection will be in this cell. For example, I've moved the bottom 3 rows to D2. You could also do this with the keyboard shortcuts for cut and paste. Control X, then Control V. Personally, I usually use the drag and drop method, but sometimes, for example, if you have a large sheet, it's easier to cut the data, move to the other part of the sheet, and paste it, rather than dragging it and having to scroll across or down to find the area you want. Incidentally, the formulas are using absolute cell references, so aren't affected by moving the cells. Instead of moving your data, you can make a copy of it. This is particularly useful if you've already formatted the cells the way you want them, and copying those cells will also copy the cell formatting, saving you time later on. Similar to before, select your data, press Control C, and then Control V in the cell you want to copy to. When you cut or copy or paste, as before, you are copying everything in those cells. This includes the values, the formatting, the borders, the text color, the fill color, the number format, and the alignment. Sometimes you want to copy only certain parts of the cells, for example. You want just the values but not the formatting. This is where paste special comes in. And the process is the same each time, except that in the last step you choose the paste option you want. I want to copy the list of students and marks, but I don't want the fill colors I've used to highlight those who didn't do well in the exam. Select the cells, press Control C to copy. Right click on the destination cell, select Paste Special, and then click on Values Only. As you can see, it's pasted just the names and the numbers. The final one we're going to look at is Paste Transpose. This takes data which is stored vertically and changes it so it is horizontal or vice versa. Let's say I now want the names of the students to go across the page rather than down it, and their exam results to be in the row below. I could copy and paste each of the cells across, which not only would take time but would be a soul-destroying task. So let's do it a better way. Select and copy the data, making sure the area you choose to paste in will fit the newly orientated cells. Then from Paste Special, click on Transposed. As you can see, the names and exam results go across the page instead of down it. Note, it also copies the formatting from the original cells, including the cell justification. If you selected the horizontal range and repeated the process, it would do the opposite and lay it out vertically again. We often need to enter a sequence of numbers, dates, or times to a sheet. Many a time have I seen someone typing in 1, 2, 3 to, 1,000 manually, when for lots of numbers there is a quicker way to do it. continuing with the exam results example, let's say I want to number each student from 1 to 10 in the column next to their name, type 1 and 2 in the number column, then select both numbers, then drag the little circle down to the cell you want to end at, and hey presto, you have a series of sequential numbers. There's an even quicker way to do this. Let's delete the numbers we added, select the first two numbers, and this time just double click the little blue circle, and bam, it's filled all the relevant empty cells with a number. You can see it stopped on the last name, as it knows that the column to the right of it, the name stopped there. The numbers can be any sequence. For example, let's create a sequence of numbers going up by 5 every time. Type in 5 and 10 in the cell and drag the blue circle down, and we can see it's created a sequence going up in 5s. You can also add sequential ranges for dates and times. Here we need to enter exam dates for the students, and they will start on May the 1st, and there will be one exam per week after that. We enter 2 dates to give sheets the pattern we're looking for, and then double click the circle and it adds the series of dates. This time we're going to add a series of exam times where they will be once every hour. I'm sure you can guess what we need to do. In the first 2 cells, type in the times. Make sure you use a colon to show they are times. Then select the 2 times and double click the circle to add them all. To finish, let's look at how we can add multiple sequences at the same time. Let's add the student numbers and the exam times. For this to work, we need the 2 series to be in columns next to each other, as we can only make one selection. So here we have the student number and the exam time next to each other. Enter the first 2 values in the columns, then select them both and double click on the circle, and bam, we've created both the student numbers and the class times. With just 10 rows, it's not much of a time saver. But imagine with something like 100 or 1,000 rows, it not only saves time, but gets rid of a monotonous task.